Hola, soy la profesora Clark, and today we're going to talk about numbers from 101 to 3 million. The first thing I wanted to point out is that all numbers, except for one, are plural. So when we're modifying nouns, plural agreement should always be kept in mind. The other thing that we need to know is that numbers, especially numbers in the hundreds column, they are also numerical adjectives. So numerical adjectives go before the noun they modify, and descriptive adjectives go after the noun they modify. So just to give you a little bit of the grammar down here, we have a numerical adjective plus a noun plus a descriptive adjective. And that could basically look like this. If I want to say 200, and I want to use the word mesa for table, and I want to use the descriptive adjective rojo, in order to make this all agree, I can say hay 200 mesas rojas. So we see that the word number, 200 ends in an AS, mesas ends in an AS, and rojas ends in an AS because they're all plural and feminine. So just remember, the numbers that we're going to be talking about today are numerical adjectives. And in that case, the next thing to note is that gender will only be a characteristic in the numbers 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900. To repeat, the word for 100, 100, and the representations after 100, which would be 101, 102, 103, etc., do not have a gender. They are neutral, and they will always either be 100 for 100 or ciento for numbers over 100. I have a column right here, a table actually, that I need for you to refer to. And the number one thing I need for you to remember is that the word E will always appear between the tens column and the ones column. So here's how we use the chart. If I put a 1 in the ones column, that turns into uno. And if I put a 1 in the tens column, 1 and 10 make 11. And because 1 and 10 make 11, and the numbers from 0 to 15 are all unique words, 1 and 10 make 11, that's once. The word once, you can see, does not have an E because it's a unique word, just like quince or doce or tres or nueve. So when you add a hundreds column, a 1 in the hundreds column, this number, 111, turns into 111. There is no E in this number. Once we head to the comma is going to mark the thousand. So we're going to say 1000 here. And again, we'll see that the purple right here makes once and the green makes 111. And you'll see that purple and green also appear here in the thousands column. So the number that would result would be very similar to the number after the comma, 111. Then you have the comma, which would be 1000, and the same number, 111. So this number right here would be 111,111. And then if you were to add a 1 in front of this compound number, it would be 1,111,111. What if you were to add another 1 in front of the millones. That would be 11,111,111. And if you were to add another one, it would be 111,111,111. Moving down, we'll see that if we go on to 2, in this column we're going to have a dos. And when we add a 2 to the tens column, it turns into 22. Now this number does have an E, so I put the E in yellow right here. And so you can see that as dos y dos, 22. And if we add a 2 in the hundreds column, we're either going to get either 222 or 222, because the number 200 carries a gender, and 200 through 900 all carry gender. If we apply the same rules from up above with the 1, this comma right here is going to mark the word mil. So anything that comes over before this will be the same as it was before the comma, but then whatever you say when you meet the comma is mil. So it's going to be 222,222. And again, the same thing happens here. If we add a 2, it's going to be 2 millones. If we add another 2 in front of this, 22 millones. And if we add another 2, 222 millones, 222,000, 222. I put this last example on here, 5, just because the vocabulary is a little bit off. 5 is cinco. Once we get into the tens column, it turns into 50. So 55. Once we get into the hundreds column, if we put a 5 there, that turns into 500. So 5, 50, 500. All of them have different pronunciations, but they're all related to the number 5. They're all multiples of 5. When we add the comma, it's going to be mil, so it's going to be 555,000, 555, 5,550,000, 555. Another thing I'd like to point out, that when you have the numbers 200, 300, etc., the agreement is going to carry over with the compound number. So I have 200 and 200 here. I have 200 and 200 here. I'm going to have 500 and 500 here. Again, 500 and 500 here. So basically, keep in mind where the E goes. No matter where it lands in the commas, whether it lands after the comma in the hundreds, before the comma in the thousands, or before the second comma in the millions, the E is always going to go between the 10 and the 1. And the 10 and the 1 right here, and the 10 and the 1 right there. And if I were to add 55, 55 here, it would also be between the 10 and the 1. To continue on, there's some pitfalls in Spanish. Remember that we shorten the number uno before a masculine noun. It doesn't matter if it's singular or plural, because this is a rule. So when you have año, which is a masculine noun, it's going to be 31 años. If you have 221 students, hay 221 estudiantes, and this is spelled, since it's a combined word and it lands on the last syllable, this particular number, 21, needs an accent. If I have $751, el coche cuesta $751. When you have a feminine noun and you're using the word uno, you will need the feminine version, which is going to be una. So 431 velas. Este programa es para 521 chicas. El libro en España costó 951 pesetas. So make sure that agreement happens in accordance with the noun that you are modifying. And remember in general that all numbers are adjectives. These are adjectives of number, and again, adjectives of number go before the noun, and descriptive adjectives go after the noun. To repeat again, ciento is what we use with numbers over 100. So cien is what we use with 100 exactly, and ciento is what we use for 101 and beyond. And remember that ciento is neutral and has no gender. And I've given you examples of how to use cien and ciento with nouns that are both masculine and feminine. This is basically how we use numbers from 101 to 3 million. Again, I hope this is helpful, and we will talk again next time. Adios. Ciao.